Welcome to this demo of Unaric Voice for Microsoft Teams. I'll walk you through what a typical day looks like for teams that work primarily in Salesforce, handling inbound and outbound calls while using the Teams phone system you already run. Unaric is the only native Microsoft Teams phone integration for Salesforce. That means you keep your existing teams set up. Calls, outcomes, and follow-ups are captured directly in Salesforce without adding another telephony platform. Here's the Unaric panel showing the dial pad, My Team Status, Do Not Disturb, and Recent Calls. In a practical sense, it means an agent can answer the call, transfer it, and capture a note without leaving this page. And from an IT perspective, Teams stays in control of calling and routing, so there's no duplicate configuration to maintain elsewhere. I'm going to place Teams next to Salesforce briefly, so you can see both updating in real time. First, an important baseline. Presence and Do Not Disturb stay perfectly in sync. I'll set my status to busy in Teams, and back in Salesforce, you can see the status also updates here. And if I enable Do Not Disturb in Salesforce, Teams updates immediately. Then I'll disable it in Teams, and Salesforce follows. This reduces missed or misrouted calls by keeping status consistent between Teams and Salesforce. Now I'll go to the Teams Admin Center to show the call queue we're using. Here's an example queue we've made for this demo, and here's the phone number assigned to it. From an IT perspective, your call queues remain configured and governed in Teams, using the same routing and policies you already manage there. With that set, let's go back to Salesforce and place a test inbound call. Okay, here it is. And this is coming into the same call queue number we just looked at in the Teams Admin Center. You can see it arrive in both places at once, the Unaric panel inside Salesforce on the left and the Teams incoming call pop-up on the right. Before you answer, you can already see who's calling and which Teams call queue it came through. And because the number matches an existing contact, Salesforce opens John Smith's record automatically so you have all the relevant context in front of you, like related cases and recent call activity. I'll answer the call here in Salesforce. You'll notice the Teams incoming call pop-up clears on the right. That's because it's the same Teams call. When it's answered here, Teams immediately knows it's answered, so it stops ringing everywhere else. Now we're live, and the Unaric panel is controlling that Teams call from inside Salesforce. I still have all the call controls everyone recognizes from Teams. First, I'll put the caller on hold. You can see the hold timer running, so wait time is visible. You can resume the call, you can end the call, and you can mute the call. And if you need to transfer, you can do a blind transfer or a consulted transfer. For internal transfers, you can search your Microsoft 365 directory or type of phone number to dial an external number. And finally, the keypad is here if you need to enter digits during the call. For example, when you're navigating an IVR during an outbound call. During the call, I can capture a note directly. This reduces post-call follow-up actions. The note is captured during the conversation, and it shows up automatically in the call log when the call ends. Now I'm going to place a second inbound call to show what happens when calls overlap. I'll answer it, and you'll see John Smith is automatically placed on hold. This helps teams stay responsive during peak periods because the first call is automatically placed on hold when you answer the second. I'll type a quick note for this new incoming call too. And if I flip to John's call, you can see his notes are still there. If I flip back to Josh, his notes are there too. So even when calls overlap, each call keeps its own context, and you're not mixing information between callers. Now I'll end both calls and refresh Josh's record. You can see the inbound call logged on the contact with the notes in the description. In practice, this is what matters. When the call ends, the activity is already on the record with the notes. So, if the case is reassigned or escalated, the next person picks it up with full context. In the Recent tab, you can see your call history, including missed calls, so it's easy to spot what needs a follow-up. If I click the pencil icon here, it opens the call task behind that activity. Inside the task, you can see who handled the call, that it was inbound, and that it's completed. And you can see the notes captured from the call and edit them if you need to add detail before saving. Now let's open the call task behind that activity, because this is what leaders use for visibility. Here you can see the call duration, hold duration, and the start and end times, captured automatically. And because this call came through a Teams call queue, you can see the called queue and which agent handled it. For supervisors, this makes it easier to spot patterns like long holds, repeated calls, or calls missing a documented next step. And for IT, it stays as standard Salesforce activity without having to reconcile data from another system. Before we wrap, here are 2 quick ways reps make outbound calls from Salesforce. First, from a list view. I'll click the phone icon next to Josh and the call starts right away. While it's live, I can capture a quick note. And second, from the record itself. I'll open John Smith and click the phone number, so it's the usual click to dial flow reps are used to. That starts the call using the same panel. So outbound activity is captured the same way as inbound. For sales leaders, that means call activity and notes show up consistently on the record for follow-up, pipeline coverage, and coaching. To recap, Teams remains the phone system, and Salesforce is where the work happens. Before you answer a call, the right record opens, and while it's happening, the agent can control the call and capture notes without leaving the page. When the call ends, the activity is written back to the record for follow-up and reporting. And on the IT side, Teams remains where you manage numbers, queues, routing, and policies. You're not duplicating telephony setup in another system. You're bringing Microsoft Teams calling into Salesforce. If you have any questions or you'd like to learn more, please get in touch.